afternoon, everyone. Are we ready to get this incredible panel started? Well, I wanted to take a minute to introduce myself. I'm Caroline Danielson. I'm the Director of Showrooms for Ferguson Home. We are so excited not only to have sponsored the Luxury Lounge, but we hope you've seen our brand new logo all over KBIS at the show. This was our first official launch for Ferguson Home. We brought together two incredible brands under Ferguson, Build.com, our incredible digital platform, as well as our incredible network of 250 showrooms across the country that was Ferguson Bath Kitchen and Lighting Gallery. And this incredible event and industry show has marked the unveiling of Ferguson Home. So it is my pleasure to bring onto the stage some incredible designers and also an amazing editor. So we've got DJ Carey. She's the editorial director for Connecticut Cottages and Gardens. And here she comes. She's so amazing. And then an incredible designer out of San Diego and a very good personal friend of mine, Brian Brown with Brian Brown Studio. Superstar. So let's talk about what we're going to chat about today. Today we're going to talk all about quiet luxury, what it means to actually design quiet luxury, and also how do we talk about it in an editorial presence as well. So let's dig in. I think the first thing we should maybe do is define what is quiet luxury. And it's an interesting perspective from an interior designer and from an editorial standpoint. So I'm going to kick it to you, Brian. In your personal opinion, what does quiet luxury mean?
Quiet luxury to me means that the space works, it functions very well, it is supportive to the user, but it also has finishes that are high quality. They have weight to them. Like if you grab a drawer pull, you feel the weight of that thing in your hand and the quality of it. Same with the countertops, cabinetry, all of that stuff, I think, plays a huge role in the overall aesthetic, of course, but I feel like there's little tweaks you can do too to make it more interesting than what everyone just thinks of as quiet luxury. You know?
Right. So it may not always be about it being the most expensive piece in the room, but it has a certain heft to it, a certain weight, a certain actual feeling to it. And how do you think that translates in an editorial fashion?
Well, I think quiet luxury has a component of exclusivity, and people don't talk about that, but I think it's real. I think your clients, when they see what you've done, they like knowing that you had a limited edition of something, or you got one material that's not so easily sourced. That makes your clients feel like they're really special. And I know, Brian, you do that in your work, because I was on your website. You know, I had to do my homework. I was like, oh boy, we're with the superstar here.
DJ did a ton of research, so I'm going to be calling on her quite a bit. Well, I think DJ, I think you're right. You know, I think it's that special marble slab. It's that, you know, light fixture that really tells the story of the room. And so when we think about quiet luxury, you know, what are a couple of things that you think determine that, like factors, right? So we know, Brian, you think it's a lot of the tactile pieces, but are there other influences, or is it a knowledge base? Is it a, you know, working with a design professional? What are some other things that impact quiet luxury?
Well, I always think that everything in your design should be justified. That means that there's no additional CRAP. And I know, I'm a mom. I couldn't say it. Sorry, guys. But you know what I'm saying? As designers, you were taught in design school, it needs to be justified. You need to really put in the room what needs to be put in the room. Bring it back to the basics and always question, is this the best solution? Have I done it hard enough? Have I really been innovative in solving that? And on Brian's website, he actually is innovative.
Thank you.
So, and Brian, I think it's a good caveat question for you. You know, luxury can mean many different things to many different clients and many different customers out there and designers. And something you've said to me, you know, over the years I've known it, you know, you've said, like, it's not about luxury, it's not about a design style, but you're physically designing for the client, and that itself is luxury. Could you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, and I would go a step further and say that it's not trend.
Right.
I don't design on trend. If it's on Instagram, I stay away from it. Wait, what was the question?
I'll just keep going with
Just
that.
keep
I like
on.
that.
Just keep going. I think
Okay.
I think what we're trying to get at is quiet luxury might not be just one type of style trend. It might
Oh,
not
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, thanks. So I think the most important thing is to know your client and know what they want and help guide them to make the right decisions of what will help the space function well and be aesthetically pleasing, and tailoring things to their needs and the things that they like. So I really hang out with my clients a lot and really get to know them and see the things that kind of make them tick. And just as an example, I have this client right now, and I've had a source, in, oh my God, Azul Imperial, which is a stone I would never use in a million years for a kitchen countertop because it's blue. I mean, I'm not a color guy. What are you going to do? So,
You did have a blue kitchen on your website.
I mean,
FYI.
it was like
I think
almost
Brian's
navy
found his
charcoal.
new website person over here, DJ. I love it. I love it.
Anyway, it's a condo in Coronado. If you're familiar with Coronado, it's on an island in San Diego. And they're on the 10th floor of a condo complex that overlooks the water. So when you walk in, it's floor-to-ceiling windows, and it's just water. So the view is so important to them, like important to a fault. So the Azul Imperial is going to blend with that water, right? So it's really listening to the client and knowing what they want, and that material is actually pretty luxurious, and it's actually really hard to find. So yeah, that's just an example of tailoring it to the specific need of the client.
And
And-
sometimes, go ahead, DJ.
And that was innovative because instead of having them stare at the water all the time, the focus comes back into your space. I mean, there's nothing worse than designing for the window and like the rest of the room falls apart because they're not engaged
Yeah.
with that space. So you were so smart to change the focus.
Thank you.
It's like they've worked together before or something.
We've
right?
never met.
We've never.
Well, and so one of the things you're touching on, which I truly believe is an aspect of quiet luxury, is the fact that somebody has the ability to work with a trade professional, whether it be an architect or a interior designer. That's a luxury that not everybody gets to have, and part of that is knowing how to be an innovative designer, understanding products that bring a space to life. And so, that in itself is a part of quiet luxury. So I want to maybe switch topics just a little bit and talk about some of the newer trends we're seeing in quiet luxury. And it would be blind of all of us to not see that what's going on around KBIS this particular season is all about health and wellness. We're seeing lots of incredible innovations in technology, very intuitive additions to showering components, steam, cold plunges. Let's talk a little bit about the aspect of quiet luxury and wellness. And I think it's going to bring out a lot of incredible, correlations between the two.
Yeah. Well, this show, I'm kind of exhausted by wellness. It's been in front of me for the last 2 days. But the most amazing little thing that I picked up this show is that I met a neuro architect, and it's one of the biggest growing fields in our design community. And it really talks to how the brain takes in so many senses without us ever realizing. So when your client walks into a space, their brain is picking up more than you would ever think. And I think we have to go back to the basics about the five senses, how to engage the five senses. How does it make sense? Because that's what's important ultimately to the people who live in that space. So that's my wellness thing.
I like it. I like it, DJ. What do you think, Brian?
Well, I feel like wellness hasn't just come up this year. I think it's been going on for a long time, especially after COVID. I know we haven't talked about that in a minute, thank God. But I think there was a huge focus going into that of like, how am I going to take care of myself in this time where things are uncertain? And guess what? We learned that things are always uncertain. We came out of it, it was still crazy. And it's just getting crazier. So, you know, I think just having a space that is calming, things that revert back to nature can be luxurious too. And just having a space that supports you and getting rid of clutter, that's very quiet luxury, not having, you know, a bunch of knickknacks and
Yes,
tchotchkes.
get rid of those.
Yeah. I think also, just change a little bit. I know you talked about technology, but I find that my client is getting away from technology.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very
Simple on and
Yeah.
off. Turn the stove on, turn it off.
But they
Like,
want the
no-
best
Yeah.
of whatever you choose. They don't want those extras.
They're not going to use their phone
No.
to turn on their oven.
No.
Well, and the interesting part about it is maybe it's a quiet technology as well, right? So advances have been made significantly in lighting as well. So, you know, we talk about the circadian lighting, we talk about how do we make a space feel inviting. There's a lot of knowledge and a lot of expertise that really has to go into making sure that a space is lit correctly as well.
Well, how many times the last 2 days have you heard noise abatement, lower noise? Every single appliance is focusing on bringing those decibels down because they've done research saying no one enjoys that sound of their dishwasher. So companies are spending a lot of money to figure out what noises have just the right reaction for the user. So I think we have to look at noise a lot.
And lighting, obviously, this is not quiet luxury.
You don't like
Harsh.
these very high, like high
very harsh.
Kelvin temperature LEDs?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So layers of light, I think, are also very important in quiet luxury. Making sure that you know, you have entertainment lighting, you have nighttime lighting. When you're just chilling with your family, you need a little light on, but you don't want a lot because, you know, maybe you're watching a movie, whatever. I like to add layers in the toe kick, behind slabs. I don't know. I kind of just light everything I can.
Well, and I think it goes back to that intentional quiet luxury, right? You know, you're being intentional about every space because you have the time and you are working with somebody who has the craftsmanship and the knowledge to make sure that these clients are loving and enjoying the spaces they're in. So the toe kick lighting, maybe they have a dog and it's really important that they get everything cleaned up in the kitchen, or, you know, the back slab. Maybe they've chosen this incredible piece of onyx and they really want to highlight the veining. And so there is a lot of intentionality that can come with quiet luxury as well, where you might just put that up and forget about it. You know, there's a moment to be celebrated with that as well. Yeah. So why don't we talk about, so we've talked about some of the senses, and I love that you brought that up, DJ. So one of the other things we haven't really thought about is the touch. There is an incredible world out here of tactile, you know, different types of textures of granite and slabs and marbles and, you know, wallpapers, tiles. Let's talk a little bit about how we can build off that, not only from a design perspective, but an editorial perspective as well. What are you looking for, DJ, when you are choosing this incredible, you know, front page, right, or front cover? I already asked her if I could be on it, and she said no. So
I didn't say no. I said you're not a house.
I could be standing in a house.
Honest,
right?
okay?
I have
put
this really-
houses on covers.
I have this really pretty green suit, and we just launched Ferguson Home, so that sounds
Well, if you're wearing a sign that says Ferguson Home, that changes it.
okay. I'm gonna hold you to that, DJ.
There goes the quality of the magazine.
I'm dead.
No, but seriously, when we're thinking about textures in the home, what are you looking for from an editorial perspective? Because everybody out here wants to get published, right?
Oh, yeah, but you can't. My dream as a magazine editor is to somehow be three-dimensional in terms of the senses. So when a reader reads a piece, they can get video and they can get a touch, almost like a scratch concept, because I think that would blow people's minds. But I'm print, so I'm at the moment limited. So it's not like I can say touch this tile. I mean, I can say it in copy, but it loses something. But I think the eye naturally picks it up, And thank God we have really good paper, and our art director does a lot of work on some of the images. So you do get the undulations, and I think that your eye picks it up more than I'm giving you guys credit. So,
I agree. I
Well,
agree.
I would say for a magazine that it would probably be great to have not just contrasting colors, but contrasting textures next to each other so you can read that this one's a little rough, this one is smooth, right?
well, when we're doing a product roundup, and my product editor is sitting right there, so she's probably gasping because she's like, oh, is that what you're going to want from now on? Thanks, Brian.
You're welcome.
So Brian, for you, for quiet luxury and textures and tones in the home, what comes to mind?
You know, I think what comes to mind for everybody is like cashmere, bringing it back to fashion. Cashmere, really, you know, nice, simple fabrics, nothing loud, nothing busy, everything's very calming. I think that you can inject a little bit of interest by using contrasting tones, so using light and dark and not having it all be cream. Also, I like to mix metals as well, so there's more interest. It's not just one note. And yeah, and good quality appliances.
Excellent. I love that. So besides budget, because I think it's really important to not tie quiet luxury with having to have a very high budget. I think those things don't always have to correlate, right?
No.
Right.
I think if you trust your eye will tell you whether something's working or not. And little kids will show you what they like and what they don't. And somehow we've gotten away from that. So like we're always, I know clients are saying, will say, do you love this? I had my best friend over and she hates it. And then suddenly they start questioning their own decision. And you're like, oh my God. And you must face this all the time. I only hear about it.
It happens, but it's like, do you love it? If you love it, who gives a F what anybody else thinks, you know? Yeah, do what you want. Life's short.
Yeah, but I don't think they have the confidence. I think
Designers or
no. Designers have the confidence. I'm saying your clients, if you're, like, how do you push a client into something that maybe they're wavering on and get them to commit to that?
educating them. I think a huge proponent of the quiet luxury as a designer is being a service person and knowing what you're specifying, knowing all the ins and outs about it. The luxury client is very savvy. Sometimes they may know more than you if you're just starting.
Yeah.
It happened to me in the beginning of my career. I was like, I don't know. So, you know, really getting the knowledge on the appliances, the surfaces, everything. So you go in as the expert, because these people, when they go shopping, for example, if they're going to, I don't know, let's say Hermes, the Hermes person knows everything about that leather and where it came from and how it's stitched and blah, 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 blah. So these people are used to that kind of knowledge and service, and I think you need to do your research and your homework on what you're doing.
And then they get engaged with the product because they've done the research.
And then they tell their friends.
Yeah. Very smart.
Oh, Brian did blah, blah, blah.
So I think Brian hit on a really key factor for quiet luxury, and that's really the service side of it. It's that if you're looking to get into the luxury space, and maybe you're not today, you might have to shift around what some of the white glove services you do, or start to look for a trade partner or a distributor that has those aspects in those showrooms that your customer wants to be in. And so that has a lot, and the education piece is huge as well. You don't have to know everything, but you have to know where to find the answers, and that is the name of the game.
Yeah, I also think, sorry, Brian, I also think that you find showrooms that support you and really help you, because you have to be educated by that showroom. And so if you have someone who has your back, it's a whole different experience, and it's service to you as a client that then you can pass on to your client, so that everyone's happier.
Yeah. And even if you don't know something, be honest and say you don't know it. But hey, I know an expert. Let's go to their showroom. Or, invite a rep to your studio and have your client and have like a lunch and have a lunch and learn with them in that product. I've done it before,
Right.
and they love it.
Yeah, there are a couple of showrooms in the Northeast where you can bring your client in and they have a chef prepare a meal for you. They can touch the appliance. They can feel like they're actually running the show. And again, you're putting them in that engagement mode versus just, here, just order this.
And it's nothing over the top, and I think that's kind of the whole theme of quiet luxury. It's not in your face. It's very much, you cater to this client in a way where sometimes they don't even expect you to cater into that capacity, and so they might not understand how to use their Gaggenau range because it is a difficult, it's a different type of cooking, but it's incredible. So maybe we'll set them up with a chef to go through a common meal so they can get to know it. It's not in your face. It's not overwhelming. It's just those little tiny steps that makes that customer really feel like, okay, I'm there. This company is a part of my project, and they are going to help me see it through.
It's amazing how many showrooms have had to take on the role of showing a client how to use a appliance. And the really good showrooms know how to do that program well. And I think it came out of the automobile luxury sector where someone would come to your house and drive with you, so you got used to the car, you got used to some of the things that you had to think about. Well, appliances have gotten complicated, and even for the top cooks, I think it's intimidating. I had one homeowner, I was shooting her kitchen, and I was like, how long ago did you do this kitchen? It was spotless. There was nothing in the fridge. The oven had never been used, and she had done it a year prior. And the only appliance that had been used was, I'm sure you can guess, is the microwave drawer because she had kids.
Popcorn button. I'm telling you, we were just having this conversation at lunch. My mother doesn't know how to use anything in the kitchen except for the popcorn button. So my 9-year-old is fed. But you're right. Things have gotten overly complicated. And part of that quiet luxury is making it less complicated for your customers and your clients.
They just want to be happy and live in their house and enjoy everything that you as a designer put in there. And they're like, oh, I'm so right. Isn't my house wonderful? And they take ownership, though. You want to say, oh, I fought you on that issue.
So I'm going to shift gears a little bit. In a world where we're seeing a million trends, right? And there's something new in technology coming out every day, and there's something new, coming out in textures and in styles and materials. How do we as the design community keep things fresh, not recreating the same thing every single time? How do we make sure that we're providing that level of design for our customers? And how does it relate to quiet luxury?
Well, again, going back to tailoring it to your specific client, I know I have a signature style, but we don't use the same materials in any project. I think that's boring.
And you get caught.
Yeah. And it's just boring. Like, why wouldn't you want to go out and explore new things, go to new showrooms and do things you haven't done before? I know designers that do the same thing over and over again, and it's very beneficial if you're doing a flat fee because you don't have to think about it. But it gets boring, and all your work starts to look the same. So
it's also not innovative.
Yeah.
You haven't really done anything to push the needle. And let's be honest, this industry, as designers, you guys are artists, you're dealing with a blank canvas. So be artful with your decisions and how you solve problems for your clients.
Yeah.
That's so well said. How are we doing on time, Jason? 5 minutes. Would anybody like to ask any questions of this incredibly funny duo up here?
Trio.
Oh, the trio. I guess I'm funny too. Thank you. No.
We were that good.
Or that bad. Come on.
No, you were great.
Anybody?
Anybody, please. Oh, thank God.
Hi. Oh, what is your guys' favorite? What's the thing in quiet luxury that you're just obsessing over right now?
You know, as far as textures go, I love like a leathered quartzite. I think it's beautiful. It feels really good to the hand. I am over, oh gosh, what is it called? Oh my God, no. Cristallo and Taj Mahal. I don't want to see that ever again.
For me, I like the fact that people are playing with innovative uses of materials that are unexpected and also mixing materials because I think that there's genius in that, but getting it right is a tough balancing act, and that really shows your skill set to your client when you can really weave these different materials so they're balanced and beautiful. And if you're as talented as this gentleman, it's nothing. And you do it all the time, but most people can't do it.
I don't even think about it. It just happens.
I knew.
It's just a natural talent. Just natural talent. We had a question over here.
No, I get to
Maroon.
ask first.
Oh, hi.
Oh,
Oh, Sarah.
I love it.
Hi, guys.
hi, Sarah.
So I was wondering, DJ and Brian, could you share with us like one product you've seen here at KBIS that just sort of blew you away that we all got to see? That's luxurious.
You go first. I'm synthesizing my.
Sorry.
There's a new low silica countertop at Cosentino. It's called Desert something. I can't remember the name. But what is it? I don't know. We were together. Sarah and I were together when we saw it. But it was beautiful. It looked like stone. It did not look like a quartz or mineral product. It was very convincing. And I was even kind of tricked. It was beautiful.
I'm going to throw one in while DJ's
Amazon
thinking.
tan.
The
I
bub-
don't know.
the bubble machine
Yes, it
at
was that.
Kohler. Has anybody seen the bubble machine at Kohler yet? It's pretty wild.
Oh, cold plunge at Kohler.
Yeah, I was going to say that, Steeler. But it's okay. I'll come up with another one. I do like the cast, whimsical, mounted ceramic sinks because it's playful, and I think when you guys have to design awkward little powder rooms, it's a little punch that makes it a jewel, and it's really worth looking at them. And they feel great to the hand. I'm all about touching surfaces because I'm like, I won't touch you.
They do. They said that people come in there and like pet the sink. So if you're looking for a little calming moment, visit.
And then one more right over here.
She's being so shy.
You don't look like you're a shy person. I know. I feel like you're wild.
Hi. My question is, what is something that you feel like people should invest more in, but you have a hard time convincing them of, or they don't see the value? And what is something that people are happy to splurge on that they don't need to?
That's a good one. That's a very good question.
Okay, so I think an overrated product is something that has red knobs. I'm not going to say what it is, but I feel like everyone uses it as this weird status symbol. And I don't know. I just feel like those red knobs ruined my design. But it's kind of chunky. But something that I think people should splurge on is their countertops. Because you use it every day. It gets the most use. It has the most liquid spilled on it. Knives, things falling on it. So I think that's really important.
Going back to what Brian said an hour ago, I think you should splurge on a really good lighting layout because lighting can change, as he pointed out earlier, everything about that room that you just designed. So if you're picking out a wood that has gorgeous green and you have lousy lighting, well, you just threw that out the window.
Well, and I think people should splurge on making sure they're working with an incredible pro, whether that is a designer or an architect, because they know the ins and outs. They can save you a lot of money at the end of it, making sure that they are doing the job that you want them to do. So, and I believe with that question, that was really, really good. I believe we're all set. Jason's hanging out up here, giving me the nod. So thank you so much for all of your time and your energy. And let's give these two incredible humans a round of applause.
Thank you.